Hello Pisces, welcome to Ring of Fire Readings. Today I'm going to be doing a Celtic cross spread to help you figure out what you need to hear as we go into the end of July. A little over a week left, and I'm going to hopefully have some good information here for you that you can make use of as you see fit. And thank you for being here. If anything in this video resonates and connects in a way, let me know down in the comments. Let me know just by tell me what's going on. It'll give me a clearer picture of who I'm reading for and why. And it's also just interesting to talk to people in the comments sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright Pisces, we've actually got a really awesome reading here today. I think, where do I even start? I still want to find a way to have me and the whatever, editing don't matter. The point is, at the heart of the matter, we had the King of Swords, and as the opposing factor, we had the Six of Swords, a card of recovery for most. So between the two swords energy at the heart of the matter, I really feel like healing, recovery. Maybe you're feeling yourself a little more right now. Maybe you're starting to come back out of your shell a little bit. I imagine there's something that really sucked in your recent past. We have the Ten of Swords in reversed here, and we had the Nine of Swords for the final outcome. So there's still some kind of pain you're working through right now. I don't know exactly what that's about. We also, well, in the actual position of the past, we had the Ten of Cups. So maybe you were, things were going really well recently, and then they slid off, and now you're kind of recovering from the change that happened there. There were quite a few tens in this reading. I mean, just in the heart of the reading, I don't know if you noticed how crazy this was, but we had the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups, and the Ten of Swords all appear in the heart of the reading. We're just missing the wands. So I think a lot of tens, a lot of completions here, a lot of cycles coming to an end. Maybe these are like 10-year cycles that you're wrapping up right now. That is crazy if so. A lot of cards of movement here. We had a lot of wind and fire, so a lot of moving forward energy. A lot in your head, I think. I imagine you're in your head a lot lately. I mean, who isn't these days? But I feel like, yeah, you're kind of really in your head right now. And some of it's good, some of it's bad. Sometimes you're like looping back onto like what hurt you recently. And other times you're actually like listening to yourself and working through it and accepting what is and moving on with what's next and learning to live more in the present moment instead of being like caught in the past and then being worried about what happened in the past, so you're worried about the future. You kind of go back and forth just worrying about the past and future. I kind of get this energy here, and now you're kind of like, you know what, if I'm being objective, it hasn't been a bad day in a week, maybe two. I'm just going to wait and see. I'm going to go from here. Whatever happens, happens. If I need it, I'll get it. If I don't, I won't. And I'm just going to make do with what I have right now. And I'm going to learn to like where I'm at right now. And that can be a really hard energy to go through. It can kind of be a little humbling at times. And it can be kind of like hard to face yourself sometimes. Sometimes we really don't like where we've put ourselves in the past at times, and maybe in these loop of thinking about the past, thinking about the future, you always feel like you're fumbling the present. You've learned to not trust yourself as much. And with these couple cards of abundance here, I think trusting yourself would be wise. You've really thought about it. You've really put the pen to the paper, theoretically, and now it's time to stop thinking and start doing. There's so many cards of action and movement here. I can just see the like takeoff. Maybe this fall is where things fall into place. You're about to have a crazy, incredible fall. But right now, just for this reading for this coming week, I think if you can embody some of this in the moment energy, this week's going to treat you right. You're going to be feeling better at the end of it. And, well, we do have the Nine of Swords as the final outcome. Probably the nastiest card in the tarot. So I don't want to like sugar you up when it's clear something hard and difficult is here. I think it could even just be some of that confronting your own mind, Pisces, where you like are just sitting there and you're like, oh, I can't believe I did this. And you're like, I've already thought about this for hours and had epiphanies about it. Why do I keep going back to it? And then you stop. Or maybe the reason this is in the final outcome is because you don't do that instead. You get caught back up in that loop, and by the end of the week, maybe for most of this week, you are just feeling yourself. You're back to you. You're feeling pretty good. But maybe at the end of the week, you slip and you think about one of those negative triggers of yours that really don't sit well on the mind still. And then what's happening is, bam, back into the loop, back into the Nine of Swords energy. And you have to trust the process. We got the Ace of Pentacles in the card position of hopes and fears, and it really kind of implied to me that you're afraid to like plant that seed. You're afraid to be new again. You're afraid to like relax your shoulders and trust yourself a little again. And I think if you are in that position, like, you have to give yourself little bits of trust here and there, and kind of like you would with an external person, like build your own trust with yourself back up. But you actually have to plant the seeds and say, no, I'm not going to tell myself I'll do this next week. I'm going to do it now. And I'm going to see what happens. And I'm going to stop being afraid of myself. Because being afraid of myself makes everything harder. Seen by the Ten of Swords and the Nine of Cups in the reading. It's funny that I said Nine of Cups. I meant Nine of Swords, but we do have the card of Nine of Cups here in the position of the immediate future. So this is the only water energy in the whole reading. Everything else was swords and fire and air. So I'm really curious what's up with this Nine of Cups. Could be a bit of an abundance, like a breakthrough in abundance, where you're like coming to more of yourself, perhaps. Maybe you're finally like beating an emotional block that's had you plateaued for a while, right? I'm gonna read the Nine of Cups now. Yeah, how about that? Instead of just jabbering on when I don't actually have the best clarity on it. We had the Ten of Cups too. The Nine of Cups was not our only water energy. What am I on about? At last, the card of wishes come true. When the Nine of Cups appears, worries and fears will be cast away. A new phase of peace and harmony awaits. The world seems to be granting your every wish. Good health, happiness, and even material gains are headed your way. Enjoy. Alright, so again, I think this is more going to be about the mind, being in your own mind, and let's say being more with yourself, in tune with yourself, comfortable in your day. Like, just being content with yourself at the start of a day makes the day go by a little quicker. And I think you could be finally getting to some of that, to some peace after a very tumultuous time. And sorry I keep bumping the camera. I'm going to pull a couple of clarifiers now. I'm going to clarify the good old Ten of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Ten of Swords. Why not? All the tens. If this were a slot machine, you would have made $2. Yep, can confirm. Can confirm you would have made $2. All right. First, the Ten of Cups. Deck not upside down. Deck not upside down. So this would be the Six of Cups in reverse. Sorry, I had to make sure the deck was the right side up. I can be a smidge dyslexic. All right, that's interesting. That's our second six. And our second six in the clarifying position, funnily enough. I guess the other is the... it's a type of clarifier. Give me the Ten of Swords next. We'll go the good, the bad, and the awesome. How about that? Ace of Cups. All right, so you tried something new and it didn't work out. Maybe you're used to being one of the more experienced people in a room, but you decided you wanted something a little more and that required you to do something new. And maybe doing something new was real uncomfortable. So you kind of got cold feet and backtracked on yourself when you, well, you know, when you were about to take off, and you didn't take off because you just didn't go through the novice phase, which is pretty normal. As seen by our second ace, 2 sixes. It's clear something in your past didn't work out how you wanted it to. This could have been pursuing a job, pursuing a degree, pursuing someone else. I'm not reading too far into that with what I'm pulling. Just that there's some kind of like... some tower moment happened, and instead of like getting back at it, now you're like hiding in another tower, you know? And you're like, oh no, I hope there isn't a tower moment coming, you say from the top of the tower. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's still where I'm at. I feel like there was a failed ambition here of some form. Like I said, it could have been any of those. Let me know down in the comments, what exactly am I seeing here? But I think with another Wands card coming out, we have more fire. There's quite, like, I see a lot of fire and wind in the reading. We have a little more water now than we did. That kind of evened out a bit after I drew the clarifying cards, but still, I noticed that that Ten of Pentacles, I think that's what you're worried about, is you're worried about like ambition. You're like, am I not making enough? Perhaps you're caught up in seeing like somebody you grew up with do better than you financially, or a couple people, and you're like, oh, I've failed. I've fallen short. I'm not where I should be in life, and it's time to like let some of that go, because by telling yourself some of this narrative, you're kind of pushing that Ten of Pentacles away, is what I get here. Reading a little more intuitive with it, but I don't know. It's what I'm getting from the reading as a whole. There I go, bumping the table again. All right, wrapping it up. I noticed that, let me look at something real quick. In external influences, we got the Two of Wands. Interesting. I think it is, I'm going to make sure I'm right. Yeah, it is the only 2 in the whole reading, which is interesting. So maybe this has a smidge of heartbreak. Maybe monetary success led to romantic, like failing monetarily led to failing romantically, or the other way around. And now you're like, can I get back up? Can I get back at it? And the answer is probably yeah. Alternatively, I'm going to mention this. There's not a single major arcana in this entire reading, so I don't think this is going to be like the craziest week of your life, but I do think you're going to have some mental ups and downs, trying to stay in the moment and trying to be like, take things one day at a time and not get so caught up. There's so much going on in the news right now. There's so much like crazy drama going on in the news right now. And I think if we were to sit and like watch all that, we'd be like, oh my God, what's going to happen to the world? Things are not going to be okay. But chances are they are. Because all throughout history, there's always been kind of crazy world events and chaos going on. And I think ignoring some of that has its benefits. Like, not being so head in the sand that you have no idea what's going on, sure, that isn't good for you. But I think knowing, like, staying on every Epstein story, every story about wars overseas or in your own backyard, and Trump did this and whatever else, I think putting some of that aside is also good. Just not getting too caught up in the hubbub, the news, the ever grinding machine, and also, like, don't be running from your demons, because a lot of times running to your demons leads to trying to get up into the future. And I think now is as good a time as any to be focused on, well, now. And I think that's going to be greatly beneficial to you. I think staying in the now would be pretty nice for you. Lastly, we got this Meditate card pulled out of my separate deck, my one Oracle deck. I'm hoping to get some more Oracle decks for content in the future, but that'll be for the future. Alright, I'm going to read Meditate now. Solitude's voice would tell you to get lost more often. As it is in these moments I find myself the most. See, there was where we're at. By looking for less external distractions, keeping to yourself, letting yourself actually be bored, and let your feelings actually, like, run their course when they hit. Like, imagine if you needed to use the bathroom and you just said, oh, that's terrible, I'm not doing that. And then you sat and you held it and you held it and you held it for like 3 days. You would be in a ton of pain. It's just a natural part of the process that needs to pass, but because you've made some kind of objectation towards it, it won't. It's sitting there. And I would, like, do a little bit of detaching from your own emotions and observe them and let them happen. Let them unfold, and hopefully it'll let you have some of this more positive energy I'm seeing here in the read, and really feel yourself and relax a little and be at peace with yourself. Have just a fine time of it, if you will. Thank you for being here, Pisces. It means the world to me. If my video was good, if the reading kind of fit, if the shoe fit, let me know, and let me know where it fit. And thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in another Ring of Fire readings.